So what is the nature of human or human organism? Again, I'm going to give a hypothesis on this, and that comes from Upanishad, and hypothesis is known as Panchkosh. Did you went on discussing it with Vijit? Not yet. So Panch refers to 5. Kosha is layers or sheath or envelope. Panchakosha, that means 5 layers, and we need to understand all those layers. So anytime we need to study anything, we always create a reference point. As I've said yesterday, like if you need to go into mathematical calculation, we need to establish 0, because with 0, whole of the math comes out. If we don't understand 0, if we have no understanding of 0, mathematics is not there. So reference point for human organism or for Panchakosha, just think of this dot as the innermost core. Innermost core, that means the subtlest or the fundamental aspect of existence. On top of this comes a layer, second one, third one, fourth one, and fifth one. In this chart, if you come outside this way, if the journey takes place from inside to outside, that means we move from subtle to gross. If the journey is this way, that means we move from gross to subtle. So subtle to gross, outward expression, gross to subtle, inward journey, and both supposed to be balanced by me. When it comes outside, mind acts as a mirror for the projection. When it goes inside, it acts as a mirror, so we reflect inside. When it comes outside, that increases the number of CPS. That means the brain wave goes with higher numbers. When it goes inside, that requires less number of brain waves. Because only with less number of brain waves, this journey is possible. Because when there are higher numbers of brain waves, this happens outwardly. So the very first one in this chart, or the outermost in this chart, so first one is known as Annamaya Kosh. Annamaya Kosh, Ann refers to food, May means it's all or it's pervasive, Kosh, again it's layer. So food layer, or layer which is made up of food, made by food. Food, yes, food, what we eat. So this layer of our existence is food body. So we are talking about the physical body. So physical body, what we have is made up of food. It is actually food. Second layer, food gives us what? Energy. So second layer of our existence is Pranamaya Kosh. Prana stands for energy, Maya, all energy, Kosh, layer. So at this level of existence, everything is energy. But there is an interesting thing with the second layer, that the second layer is not just inside, but at the same time outside. So energy is not just inside, but also outside. And when we talk about the outside energy, there is a field around us. In hypothesis, we know it as aura, but in modern terms, we know it as electromagnetic field around us. So this energy body is not just inside, but also outside. Every human carries at least 12 inches of aura around his or her body. And then there are certain machines nowadays available. So you just go and you create your aura with just the photons you're discharging with the tip of your fingers. So there are some machines, you just go and put your fingers and they're going to create the picture of your aura, and they're going to talk about some of the diseases may occur in near future to you. And some of the scientists, they're using these machines to diagnose the problems at their early stages. Because the diagnostic system what we have, it's too gross and it picks up the problem at the level of body. Because sometimes you know that some of the people, they go to the doctor and they complain about pain. They send them for the MRI and CT scan and all those things, but even then they are not able to recognize anything there, and they say like, you are okay. Report says you are okay, but the person says, I'm feeling pain. So maybe those machines, what we know, like MRI or CT scan, they're not subtle enough to pick up that source of pain. So is there a possibility for us to pick up the pain at this level before it manifests at the level of body? Because once it's in the body, it's already too late for a problem, for us to do something about it. Sometime, not all the time. Third, what is subtle than prana or energy? Manomay Kosh, this specific initial three means mind, Maya again pervasive, Kosha, that's layer. So third layer, it's my mind. And I think we talked about it yesterday. What is the nature of mind? Thought and counter thought. And what is the nature of thought? Question. So nature of mind is a question. But again, similar to the second layer, this third layer is not just inside, but at the same time outside. And there is a possibility that the aura what you create with your mind field may extend in kilometers. There is a possibility that the aura of your mind, like as I've said, physical body is only this much, but energy body outside of this, so at least 12 inches. But when you talk about the mind and its extension out of you, it's in kilometers. There is a possibility for you to go to the level of each and every corner of this existence. So possibilities are big. But this is just limited to the question. Fourth layer.
So is this the way? Because it looks like you're going from gross to subtle.
Yes, we are moving from gross to subtle. So physical body is the grossest in this chart. Subtler than this is energy. Subtler than that is yes. So the more subtle it is, more wide and expanded it is. More subtle, more wide. Fourth layer. So what is finer than your mind? Existence is everything. Existence is from inside to outside, everything is existence. Not yet there. Awareness is everywhere for sure. But here, I would say this is gross awareness, little subtle awareness, subtler awareness. We are going for further subtlification of the same awareness. So all the way it's awareness. No, not self. Self is not yet there. So what is finer than your mind? Yes, nicely said. I would say intuition. So this layer, fourth layer, is known as Jnanamay Kosh. Fourth layer is known to us as Jnanamay Kosh. Jnanamay Kosh is Jnana. I think we've already discussed Jnana Yoga. So Jnana means wisdom. So, wisdom, body. So, again, think of this chart now and think of yourself or think of that person who has a question at this level. So, this is my mind, third layer, and I have a question. What do I do to my questions? I just go outside somewhere to find the answer. I just go to a teacher, I just go and read a book, but it seems like teachers are not able to answer my question. Books are not sufficient enough. Here comes a time that I may read a book and it gives me the answer for some amount of time. I just go and read the next book. I have doubt about the previous book or about this book because it looks like these two authors are opposing each other now. Okay, so let's go to a simple thing. Just think of the very first time you went to a teacher to learn yoga, and one of the things what we do regularly, especially in asana practice, we do triangle. So triangle is something which happens almost every day. So you went on doing asana practice with this particular teacher for some amount of time, and it looks like now you know what it is because you have some confidence and you know the triangle and the way you do it. Because of some reason the teacher was missing in the studio, and you went to a new teacher, second teacher, and this new teacher has a very different idea about the same posture. And now you're confused and you have a doubt because it looks like this teacher is challenging all what you have learned with the previous teacher. And when this teacher challenges you, you have a question like, if this person is right, if this teacher is right, that means all what we have learned and that the previous teacher is wrong. And if the previous one is right, that means this one is wrong. Doubt, conflict. You say, okay, let's try the third one to balance it out. Because if 2 supports one side, that means that is right. So then we go for the third teacher, and third teacher comes up with a very different idea. It seems like this new teacher is challenging all those previous ones. You go to the fourth one, now you really don't know anything about triangle. It's a simple pose, you just need to tilt to the side, but you know nothing about it, your confidence is lost completely. Now you say, okay, sitting at home, let's go to the source of yoga and try and find out there. So you book a ticket and a place for a TTC in Rishikesh, and you come here, and then there are more crazy teachers with more crazy ideas, with more craziness. And it seems like the confusion at its best now. We have the culmination of confusion. And what is the culmination of confusion? Just in one word. What is the culmination of confusion? Say it again. Yes, for sure. You're just giving the simple word, but culmination of confusion. It's supposed to culminate. Everything is evolving. So what is the evolution, the ultimate level of evolution to the confusion? I'm just looking for a specific. Whoever gives that specific to me, I'll give a chocolate. So what is the culmination of confusion and conflict? So what is the culmination of confusion? That's good. So culmination of confusion. Yes, you're saying something. Yes, you all are saying right actually. But I would say a new thing. A new thing is culmination of your confusion is your self-practice. Culmination of your confusion is your self-practice. Self-practice in the sense, I went on reading a book. After reading a book, it seems like I know a lot about the philosophy of yoga. I went on reading the second book. That went on adding to my kitty. I went on reading the third book, and I started having the confusion about the previous books because it looks like this author has a very different idea about the same philosophy. Went on reading the fourth book, and it seems like, oh my God, I'm confused. So I went with all those books to one of my master, and I put all those books, like, okay, page number this says this, page number this in this book says this, and page number this says this thing, this way. So please tell me what book I must study now. My master looked at me and said, name of the book for you is Roshan. Just go and study yourself. Leave these books, because these books have already helped you to reach to this level. So what is the job of a teacher?
To increase the level.
Of what? Confusion. So job of a teacher is to add to the level of confusion at ever accelerating rate. And if a teacher is not able to confuse you, that means he or she is not a good teacher yet. Because here comes a time that you shut yourself down from all these teachers. Here comes the time that you shut yourself down from all these teachers. And when you shut yourself down, what happens?
You get your own conclusion.
What is the fifth limb of Ashtanga Yoga? Before, that is sixth one. Dhyan is seventh one. Pratyahar, yes. And what is pratyahar? Did you remember? Withdrawal of the senses from outside and you go inside. Withdrawal of the senses, it's so natural. So culmination of confusion is what? Self-practice. Spirituality is not that you go somewhere in the class and you always stay. Like anytime you start your self-practice, that means you have started yourself on the path of spirituality. So that means instead of going outside, I've shut myself down and I'm going inside. At least I close my eye. If I'm confused heavily, what happens? I just want to close my eye and sit quietly. And what happens in that moment? This is a symbolic representation of, hey, go inside, because answers of your question are where? Fourth layer, Jnanamaya Kosha. So either you do it voluntarily or you go to the teacher, keep on going, and the teacher is going to confuse you, and you say, please stop, Roshan. Now it's time for you to practice on your own. And anytime you decide this, that means you're ready to have the fifth limb of Ashtanga Yoga, and that is Pratyahar. That means you're ready to go inside. And this is nothing but the first step towards self-reliance. This is the first step towards self-sustainability. This is the first step towards the real independence. This is the first step towards self-respect. This is the first step towards self-confidence. And this is the first step towards self-appreciation, self-love. And that is called spirituality. What is next? Fifth layer. Not yet. Everything is consciousness for sure. Everything is energy, everything is matter on a particular level. Devotion comes with this automatically. The thing is like, as I've said, are we trying to accept things or acceptance happens? Acceptance happens with understanding. So once you understand, that leads to spontaneous acceptance. Understanding leads to spontaneous acceptance. It's hard for me to accept it because I don't understand it. Once I understand it, I accept it. Fifth, as soon as you find the solution, as soon as you find the answer of your question, what are the feelings? Yes, you're happy actually. As soon as you find the answer of your question, you experience Ananda. So Anandamaya Kosh, and this is bliss. So bliss body. Okay, so we have Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Jnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. It looks like we all can experience our body. We all have experienced the energy. We have experienced the doubt and the questions of mind. But it looks like we haven't experienced the answers yet, and we haven't experienced the bliss yet. So if everything is within me, I must experience all the possible levels of myself. Yoga is only this much. These three things, they are awakened. I need to awaken these two things. So either you do it on your own with a choice, or you go to teachers and teachers and teachers, and ultimately it adds to the level of confusion, and then you decide after a long time that ultimately yoga is all about self-practice. So what do we do in the name of yoga in this classroom? Are we practicing yoga, or we are just preparing for the self-practice? On and off is what? Is it yoga or just a symptom that self-practice is missing? That means yoga is missing. So on and off, that means I haven't prepared myself well enough for my self-practices. So here comes the time that you stop going to the teacher and you start practicing on your own. That means you're on the path of yoga. There are many people think that they're on the path of yoga and they're having a lifestyle as yoga, but they're so much dependent upon a particular studio, they are so much dependent upon a particular teacher, because only when that teacher is there, they just go and do practice, otherwise not. They depend upon a particular area. There is a possibility for you to go and practice anywhere. Your practice is supposed to be self-sustainable. Independent practice. What is the innermost core? Last thing, then I'll leave you in peace. Innermost core is the self, or I would say the innermost core is the ultimate observer. And what is theoretical enlightenment? Theoretical enlightenment is only this much, that I have the body, but I am not the body. I have the energy, but I am not the energy. I have the mind, but I am not the mind. I have wisdom, but I am not wisdom. I have bliss, but I am not bliss. I am the observer of everything. So ultimately, yoga is not union. Yoga is actually separation. Otherwise, union is already there. My consciousness is already trapped in my body. It's a level of samadhi. I'm one with my body. I'm one with my energy. I'm one with my conflict, actually. I need to disassociate myself from all five things to establish myself in my own true nature. And once you stop all five, that is known as yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. I think you went on discussing this with Vijit. Stopping the fluctuations of mind is yoga. So what is fluctuation? Your body is a state of fluctuation. Energy is the fluctuation of consciousness. Mind is a fluctuation of consciousness. Jnana is a fluctuation of consciousness. So, and with me, I think one day you went on discussing the nature of consciousness in terms of energy. And what was it? Did you remember? Yes. So nature of consciousness is vibrationless energy. And vibrationless energy means what? Yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. That means no vibration, because any vibration is vritti. So once you stop all these vrittis, all these fluctuations, you realize what? Yourself, which is vibrationless.
What is the name in Sanskrit of this?
Okay, this one. Turiya. You may call it Brahma, you may call it consciousness, you may call it many names are there. Again, terminology is not that important. Important is the concept. So once you understand the concept, there is a possibility for you to talk about 7 layers. There is a possibility for you to talk about 9 layers. There is a possibility for you to talk about 10 layers. So as long as the concept is clear, terminology you can make and break.